Many men do not yet know that they have the features of a Sigma man, and some never realize that these traits have always been in them. Although there is no single definition of what makes a man a Sigma, there are some undoubted signs that distinguish them from other men. From their deep thinking to their independent nature, it's easy to see when a man is a Sigma. Here are 12 unmistakable signs that you are a man. Number 1. They treat everyone the same regardless of social status. Men don't need to impress anyone and don't care about social status. They treat everyone the same, like a CEO and a janitor. They don't believe in a hierarchy of everyone in an equal position. They have a keen sense of justice, and they always treat everyone with respect. Everyone has their own value, regardless of origin or life experience. Their elitist approach. These are refreshing changes from the usual competitive hierarchical atmosphere found in many places. Men don't need to compete and prove themselves. They just want to be fairly judged on their merits and treated as equals. Although they may be the loudest people, they have a strong moral code and they always strive to do what is right. Number 2. They don't talk much about their lives. Men are usually very secretive people who don't share much about themselves or their lives with others. They prefer to keep everything to themselves in order to protect themselves from being betrayed by them. Those who are close enough to look into a man's life are often surprised at how thoughtful, sensitive they can be. They don't rush to get to know someone before opening up, but when they do, they can be incredible friends. They may be inseparable, but they are deeply reflective and they are deeply prophetic. Men value their privacy and can often find themselves aloof or unavailable. They prefer to observe and listen before speaking out, which makes it difficult to get to know them. They may not talk much about themselves, but they are very observant and aware of the world around them. Most people catch the subtle nuances and social dynamics. Number 3. They are capable of leadership, but they do not strive for it. They have all the qualities of a great leader, but they are not looking for attention or leadership. Men prefer to stay in the shadows and observe, take the lead. They are quite capable of taking responsibility if the situation requires it, but they would rather give up seats and support those who transgress, who are in the spotlight. SMA man is more likely to lead by example, by word. His quiet guidance may be more effective than any oral one. He may not be the one who takes the initiative, but he has a great sense of direction and is always ready to help when needed. Men can become amazing leaders if they are not given the opportunity, but they need to look for it. They would much rather cooperate and see everyone succeed than stand out and take all the glory for themselves. Number 4. They have a different way of thinking. Sigma men often misunderstand because their thinking is unique and different from the generally accepted. While usually a person can only see one solution, Sigma will think of many different angles of possibilities for any problem. They like to perceive the situation from different points of view, which leads them to find creative solutions that others may simply not see. This way of thinking sets their tables apart, but also has its drawbacks. People who think outside the box may have difficulty adjusting to those who don't understand their unique way of thinking. It's like they're speaking a different language, they can all understand them. When two personalities meet, they understand each other's thinking without explanation. It's like they have secret things that only make sense when they talk to each other. Number 5. They hate being told what to do. Like men don't like it when someone uses authority to give orders. They prefer autonomy and making their own decisions without the influence of others. While they may take advice from someone they trust, they don't like it when decisions are made for them. They do not tolerate micromanagement, research orders with which they do not agree. This does not mean that men, but they do not follow useless outdated rules just because everyone does it. When it comes to making decisions, they rely on their own judgment instincts. They would rather question the conventional order of things than all follow the crowd. This often puts them at odds with authorities, which can lead to tension or conflict. Despite this, they do not change their views just for the sake of pleasing someone. Although Sigma are not looking for trouble, they do not hesitate to defend their position if necessary. They have an independent spirit and they make their own way in life, even if it means going against the flow. Number 6. They avoid large group events. Large group events can be very annoying for a man, because they are often filled with noise and chaos. While KAL Alpha can thrive in such scenarios, it is usually preferred to stay away from the center. They need attention or approval for being the center of attention. Therefore, they often avoid such events in principle. Instead, men prefer smaller gatherings where they can get to know people on a deeper level. They need a little space for thought, reflection, so big events are often completely overwhelming. They often need to spend some time alone and recharge after attending a big event. They just don't have the same energy and enthusiasm for big events as the buzz. This does not mean that they cannot function in such conditions. It just means that their battery is draining faster than their colleagues. Although men may not be the soul of the company, they can still be marked by participants in any conversation. In fact, their thoughtful conclusions and deep perspectives often add a lot of value to the discussion. Number 7. They don't apologize for their uniqueness. They don't apologize for their unique views or unconventional lifestyles. They don't feel the need to explain and why they do things differently. A man does not try to impress others and show off. They just live their lives, are who they are, and no matter what other people think of them, they feel the need to fit in order to fit in. This makes them stand out from the crowd without much effort. Men feel comfortable in their own skin, do not try to be who they are. They understand that their opinions and ideas can sometimes go against each other, but they refuse to change who they are, just to get approval. They accept their differences and appreciate the beauty and uniqueness of each. And everyone has their own unique way of life, and they strive to find their own way without feeling the need to apologize for it. Number 8. They are introverted, but very adaptable and open. Although men are often seen as introverts, they have an amazing ability to adapt to any situation. Their silence and restraint prevent them from being open to new experiences. They easily move from one environment to another, feel free in different social settings. Men are not limited by the same limits as other introverts. They may not be the most sociable people, but they easily get along with different groups of people. Their openness and flexibility allow them to learn from any situation, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. They do not shy away from difficult conversations and conflicts. On the contrary, they use these moments to expand their understanding and get an idea of how others think and feel. Their introversion gives them space for reflection, allows them to become more adaptive and open. While some may find something intimidating, she actually makes men incredibly valuable in a variety of settings. Number 9. They are very independent and value their freedom. Men value their freedom above all else and strive to maintain independence. They don't like to feel bound or obligated to do something, so they often offer efforts to protect their freedom. Freedom for research, creativity, and the search for new ways of thinking. They don't like to be limited by rules or norms. They need space for independent thinking and decision-making. They are not the ones who follow the crowd. They like to lay their own samples, create their own paths. They don't feel the need to fit in, and that makes them incredibly unique. Their independence can sometimes be mistaken as arrogance and aloofness, but this is just a sign of confidence and determination to do things their own way. Number 10. They prefer to work alone. All men like to work according to their conditions, so they prefer to work alone. They do not like to be bombarded with the opinions of others, prefer to think, act and work independently. This does not mean that they do not like working with others, but they feel more comfortable when they give space for their own business. They don't need the constant praise or attention of others. All they need is a challenge and a little space to concentrate. And it doesn't matter if they give a helping hand or work in a team from time to time, but they prefer individual projects that give freedom and work without interference. When they are given the opportunity to work alone, men can achieve excellent results thanks to their ability to think outside the box, try different approaches. They need someone to guide them. They just need opportunities to explore and experiment according to their conditions. That's why men often become entrepreneurs. Working alone allows them to express their creativity, explore their drives without outside interference. Number 11. They are loners and those they trust. Everyone is often called lonely because they like to spend time alone. They need to be surrounded by people to feel satisfied. Although they may not be the most sociable people, men are incredibly loyal friends. When someone deserves their trust, they don't need many people in their life. But those they keep close to themselves are treated with respect and care. They may not always show it, but those in the inner circle know that they can count on them when they need help. And they don't take relationships lightly. When they connect with someone, it's usually for life. They protect those they love and are willing to make great sacrifices to protect them from later. Although status alone can make them seem distant, they can actually be very caring and sympathetic people if you get to know them. Men don't need a lot of friends, they just need some good, really close people they can rely on. 12. They hate empty chatter. They are not big fans of typical conversations like "how are you?" or "what did you do on the weekend?" Although usually a person can read such conversations with a way to establish a connection with another, men read them as essential and useless. They don't like idle chatter because it often leads to nothing. Instead of having superficial conversations, they prefer meaningful discussions that deepen various topics. They like to discuss, not people, and squeezing with someone who can challenge their opinion. They don't like conversations that revolve around pleasant things, injuries, some everyday trivia. They will be better off talking about meaningful topics that will help them grow as a person. Men are often passionate about learning reasons, so they crave intelligent conversations that stimulate their minds. They can talk for hours on topics that they find interesting, inspiring. They need someone for entertainment, they need something. And that something, This is a good conversation about something important and deep.
And that's it for me. If you liked this video, don't forget to rate it, subscribe to the channel and click on the bell. For me, your activity. This is the best reward. Thank you for your attention. See you soon.